Hello. Konnichiwa. Namaste. Hola. I'm going to continue this study. In the previous video, we saw this part on AppComponents, activities and services. So I'm going to talk about broadcast receivers and content providers. And how you know, I am doing these videos for improve my English and fun and documentation of my activity to road to be a development.
Broadcast. Receivers.
A broadcast receivers is a component. A broadcast receivers is a component that enables the system to deliver events to the app outside of a regular user flow, allowing the app to respond to system-wide broadcasts, announcements, because broadcast receivers are another well-defined entry into the app. The system can deliver broadcasts even to apps that aren't currently running. So, for example, an app can schedule an alarm to post a notification to tell the user about an oncoming event, and by delivering that alarm to a broadcast receiver on the app, there is no need for the app to remain running until the alarm goes off. Many broadcasts originate from the system. For example, a broadcast announcing that the screen has turned off, the battery is low, or a picture was captured. Apps can also initiate. What?
Initiate.
Apps can also initiate broadcasts. For example, to let other apps know that some data has been downloaded downloaded,
downloaded, downloaded,
downloaded, downloaded,
downloaded, downloaded,
loaded, downloaded, downloaded to the device, and it's available for them to use. Although broadcast receivers don't display a user interface, they may create a status. They may create a status bar notification to alert the user when a broadcast event occurs. More commonly, though a broadcast receiver is just a gateway to other components and is intended and is intended to do a very minimal amount of work. For instance, it might schedule a job service to perform some work based on the event. On the event with job scheduler. We see
job scheduler.
What?
Job scheduler.
Job scheduler.
Job scheduler.
Job scheduler. Job scheduler. A broadcast receiver is implemented as a subclass of broadcast receiver, and each broadcast is delivered as a intent is the pronunciation is more higher in the second part of this word, intent. Object. For more information, see the broadcast receiver class. So the one of these AppComponents is they are 4 different types: activities, services, and we already read broadcast receivers. And now I'm going to talk about content providers. A content provider manages. A content provider manages a shared set of app data that you can store in the file system in a SQLite database on the web or any other persistent storage location that your app can access. Though the content provider, other apps can query. Wow.
Query.
query. Other apps can query or modify the data if the content provider allows it. For example, the Android system provides a content provider that manages the user interaction, the user's contact information. As such, any app with the proper permission can query query the content providers such as contract data to read and write information about a particular person. It is tempting. It is tempting to think of a content provider as an abstraction of a database.
Abstraction
of on a database. Because there is a lot of API and support built into them for that common case. However, they have a different core purpose from a system design perspective. To the system, a content provider is an entry point into an app for publishing named data items. Identified by URI scheme. Scheme. Wow. Scheme. Thus an app can decide how it wants to map the data it contains to a URI namespace, handing out those URIs to other entities, which can in return use them to access the data. There are a few particular things this allows the system to do in managing an app. Assigning a URI doesn't require that the app remain running. So URIs can persist after the owning apps have exited. The system only needs to make sure that an owning app is still running when it has to retrieve the app data from the corresponding URI. These URIs also provide an important fine-grained security model. For example, an app can replace URI for an image it has on the clipboard, but
leave,
but leave its content provider logs out so that other apps cannot freely access
access, access
it. When a second app attempts to access the URI on the clipboard, the system can allow the app to access the data with a temporary URI permission grant so that it is allowed to access the data only behind the URI, but nothing else in the second app. Content providers are also useful for reading and writing data that is private to your app and not shared. A content provider is implemented as a subclass as content provider and must implement a standard set of APIs that enable another app to perform transactions. For more information, see the Content Providers Developer Guide. A unique aspect of the Android system design is that any app can start another app's components. For example, if you want the user to capture a photo, with the device camera, there is probably another app that does that, and your app can use it instead of developing an activity to capture a photo yourself. You don't need to incorporate or even link to the code from the camera apps. Instead, you can simply start the activity in the camera app that capture a photo. Captures a photo. With complete, the photo is even returned to your app so you can use it. To the user, it seems as if the camera is actually a part of your app. When the system starts a component, it starts the process for the app. If it's not already running an instance instantiates the classes needed for the component. For example, if you want to start the activity in the camera app that captures a photo, that activity runs in the process that belongs to the camera app, not in your app's process. Therefore, unlike apps on most of other systems, Android apps don't have a single entry point. There is no main function. Because the system runs each app in separate process with a file permission that restrict
restrict, restrict,
restrict,
restrict,
restrict or restrict,
restrict,
restrict, restrict. That restrict access to other apps. Your app cannot directly. Your app cannot directly activate a component from another app. However, the Android system can. To activate a component in another app, deliver a message to the system that specifies your intent to start a particular component. The system then activates the component for you. So that's it. My last two different types of app components. So this is all for this video. If you like, press thumbs up button, and you can write in the comments any comments. Bye bye, and thank you, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to continue in the next video. I'm going to continue for activating components, and my goal is go this item, and then this, and then this, and so on, and then this, and then other this. I know we are learning English word first, and reading the documentation, and reading Android Studio documentation. Thank you, and we met in other video. Bye bye.